Hi Beatle people, welcome back to A Beautiful Life. So for New Year's Eve today, this video is going to be a look back at some Beatles highlights of 2025. These will be both things that all Beatles fans experience and things that were memories for me this year as well. So let's take a look back and get started. So I should say that this video will cover both Beatles and solo Beatles things, because the first memory to look back on would be the January release of Ringo's country album, Look Up. And this was actually a #1 album for him, the very first one of his solo career. In the UK, it reached #1 on 2 charts, I think the Americana and the country charts. So I think my favorite from the album is Breathless, which is the first track. But another fun one is Can You Hear Me Call, because I like to pretend I'm doing a duet with Ringo. And then I also really like Rosetta too, but I like them all. And he has announced actually quite a while ago now that he will be releasing a kind of follow-up album to this, Look Up To, if you will, but that's of course not the official title, and it will be another country style album. So you may remember right around the time this album was released that I found a very Ringo themed cowboy hat in Macy's in the mall, and I'll get to more of the story of that hat at the a later point in this video. If you know what's coming, you'll know about that already. But it was very exciting. So yes, I'm definitely looking forward to the second installment of this, and I really love that we can still look forward to new music from Paul and Ringo. Then the month of February, we started that off very well with Now and Then winning a Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance. And it was actually also nominated for Record of the Year, which it did not win, but it is still a Grammy-winning song. That was very exciting. I think I watched, it was actually announced, I believe, during the pre-show ceremony, so not the main ceremony, and I think I was in the middle of exercising when it was on, so I had to quickly record it with my phone on my iPad. But I did get a little bit of my reaction and some of the acceptance speech for that from Sean Lennon as well. And then February continued to be an exciting month for both Paul and Ringo. Paul had his surprise shows at the Bowery Ballroom in New York City. And those, of course, sold out, I imagine, extremely fast, because you could only get the tickets at the box office. I would imagine people who live in New York were sprinting across the city trying to get there in time. Of course, if they were available online, I definitely would have tried, but that was not the case. And then Paul, he did his performance on the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special, where he did Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. And I remember it was really fun to watch that on TV. I was like right up close to the TV, like dancing around as if I was at a concert. It was fun. And there was a special performance for Ringo in February as well, when he performed at the Grand Ole Opry. And there's a really nice video on that on the Opry's Instagram page. I really like that video because you could just tell how special it is for Ringo to have performed there, and it has some really nice footage. I really like it. I saved it on my Instagram, you know, in the little bookmark section, so I could always watch it. So then in the month of March, we had the Ringo and Friends at the Ryman TV special, which is still available to stream on Paramount Plus. It has really nice performances from Ringo and from the country artists that were featured on his album, and some other special guests as well. I really enjoyed it. Also in the month of March, I found out that my Fab 4 segment was selected for the Sirius XM Beatles channel, and that was exciting because I had only submitted songs for that once before, like I think right when they started doing my Fab 4, and I never heard back. But when I submitted this time, I heard back very quickly, so that was really cool. And that aired later in 2025, but I'll get to that soon. And then also in March, we had the announcement of the actors that would portray the Beatles in the upcoming Beatles biopics. I didn't really have any comment on that because I don't know anything about those actors, or really about many actors, because I really don't watch too many movies, too many TV shows really, but it'll still be interesting to see how the biopics come together. No pun intended. And next in the month of April, it was Record Store Day. And one of the releases for that was the John and Yoko Power to the People EP. And this was 4 songs that were recorded at the one-to-one concerts. And this was kind of an appetizer, if you will, for the Power to the People box set that was released later in the year, this year. And this release for Record Store Day actually did end up in the top 10 of 2 charts, I think in the UK. So I have a video taking a closer look at this if you want to see that. But a lot of the things I'll be talking about in this video, I made my own videos on as they happen, so you can look back on my channel for any of those. Also for Record Store Day actually was a George Zoetrope disc of All Things Must Pass, and that he had a second Zoetrope come out for Record Store Day Black Friday too. Another thing in the month of April was that Paul had a new photo exhibit open at a gallery in Beverly Hills. It was called Rearview Mirror. It had a long title, I think, that started with Rearview Mirror, and it was a separate exhibit from the Eyes of the Storm exhibit, which is currently touring. This one was only at this Beverly Hills gallery. And then lastly in April, this is more of a memory for me, I started to have a lot of growth on my Facebook page. Because one of my videos, which was like a day in the life of a Beatles fan, kind of me acting out Paul's part of a day in the life with all my, Beatles things, that actually, about 2 months after I posted it, closer to 3 months, really started to get a lot of views, and that helped my Facebook page really start to grow. At the beginning of this year, I think I was at 1,500 Facebook followers, and now I'm at 19,400. So it's gotten quite a bit of growth. I'm sure I'll hit 20,000 sometime in the next month, I would guess. So I'm skipping ahead a little bit to the month of June. I looked through my social media and didn't find anything super notable in the month of May that happened. If I think of anything, I'll put it in the comments, but skipping ahead to June. So that month started out with Paul appearing on stage with Bruce Springsteen at his concert. I really like to watch when special guests appear at people's concerts, even if it's an artist that I'm not really a fan of, because I just like to hear the reaction of the audience, like the audience explodes when the special guest comes out. And there were some nice photos as well, Paul looking really happy on stage. Then also in June, we had Paul's birthday, and I made some birthday cupcakes for him in my annual video. And it's always really exciting to celebrate Paul's birthday. I've been doing something for his birthday, I'd say at least since 2012. So that's a tradition that I really enjoy. And then the absolute highlight of June for me was seeing Ringo and his all-star band in concert. I have a whole separate concert vlog of that if you would like to go and watch all the video clips from that show. But that was absolutely one of the best concert experiences that I've ever had. I was only 3 rows away from Ringo. As you know, like there had been a lot of postponements and cancellations and things that got in the way of me seeing Ringo again for many years. I had last seen him in 2019, and I finally saw him and the band again this year, and it was incredible. And so this is where the story of the hat comes in. So I had ended up decorating that hat a little bit more to bring it to the concert. I put "Look Up" on one side and Ringo's name. I put "Peace and Love" on the other side, and these are with little kind of rhinestone letters that I found at the craft store, and I just glued them on with fabric glue. And I put some extra stars as well. So I brought that to the concert, and I ended up giving that hat to the security supervisor who was standing, this was before the show started, standing kind of by the front of the stage in the little pit area that we were all in. And well, it's not quite a pit because there were seated rows, but anyway, so he came back a little bit later and said that the hat had been successfully delivered. So that itself was exciting. I considered that mission accomplished. I didn't know, and still don't know, if Ringo himself received the hat, but it did make it backstage, because after the show, I saw on his publicist's Instagram a picture of the hat sitting backstage. She had included that in the video with some, clips of the concert. It started off with the hat. And then I also saw the video later from, I think, Ringo's road manager, and I think 2 of his bandmates also shared a picture of that hat in their own videos on Instagram. So that was all very exciting. I don't know to this day if Ringo himself has the hat or if he saw it. I don't know. I'm still hoping, because he's planning to release a new country album very soon. Part of me hopes that he'll be wearing the hat, not necessarily on the cover, but maybe in like the little booklet photo shoot thing, but we'll see. But yes, I definitely did consider that mission accomplished, and that made an amazing night even better. So that concert was definitely one of the big highlights of this year. So then moving on to the month of July, of course, we had Ringo's birthday on the 7th, and I did my birthday cupcakes for him. And he had, of course, his Peace and Love birthday celebration in Beverly Hills. And I watched the live stream of that Ringo's account was filming as it was going on. And you may remember the cool story that came out of Ringo's birthday party was that as the band was playing music at the party, Ringo had Paul on the phone, and he was, you know, of course, having Paul listen to the music. At the end, like, he held up his phone and said that Paul loved it. And when they took a picture of his phone, you could see that Paul is in Ringo's contacts as Mac Macca. And another cool thing to come out of Ringo's birthday this year was that July 7th was declared Ringo Star Day in Beverly Hills, California. So that's really cool. And then also in July, we had an exciting announcement from Paul when he announced his Got Back tour dates for this year, which of course were North American dates. And I was very lucky enough to see him, but I'll talk about that later. So then in August, we had the announcement of the John and Yoko Power to the People box set. I later received this very kindly from the John Lennon estate and made a video doing a whole unboxing of it for you. And then also in August was the 60th anniversary of the Beatles' first Shea Stadium concert. And that is very close to being my favorite Beatles performance, I think. This year in particular, I just felt very enamored by it. And I think I watched my DVD of it every night for like a week or something after that. And I even asked for this book for my birthday this year about the concert. It's called Top of the Mountain, the Beatles at Shea Stadium in 1965. So I really enjoyed watching that. I just love seeing all the audience members and their reactions to the Beatles, and I just love the summer concert vibe, if you will. And maybe it's because I also saw a concert myself at Citi Field, which is at the site of Shea Stadium this year. Just something about it. I just really loved that concert, especially this year. And then August got very exciting for Beatles fans after that, because we had the teasers and then the announcement of all the anthology releases we got this year. That, of course, being the reissued book, and then the box set, and then the standalone anthology 4, which came later, and then the documentary on Disney Plus as well. And something that I noticed this year is that the Beatles account on social media is really starting to interact with fans' posts more often, and that includes me. So they actually, I made a little video right when the teasers came out. It hadn't been the announcement yet, but just the teasers for the Anthology 4, kind of in just a snippet of a few different Beatles songs where they say 1, 2, 3, 4, and me swiping through the teasers. They actually liked that post and reposted it on their account as well. So that was very exciting for me. And they, throughout the year, have actually liked several of my posts and reposted, I think, one of my anthology book look through as well. So that's all very exciting. And then lastly, another announcement we had in August was the Man on the Run documentary about Paul's life after the Beatles, his life and career after the Beatles broke up. So that is coming out in February, I think on Amazon Prime Video, but it's also supposed to be released in select theaters, I think. So I'm hoping that I get the chance to see it on the big screen and not just at home on TV, but either one, of course, is fine, but I would prefer to have the experience of seeing it in a theater. And then in the month of September, we found out that the Beatles 64 documentary, which of course was released November of 2024, had won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Sound Mixing. So that was very exciting. And also in September, Paul and Ringo were both on the road. Paul had his Got Back tour, of course, which began in September, I think in California, and Ringo had his fall tour as well. Then in October, we had the release of the reissued anthology book. Have a video looking through this because this is my first time owning this book. Previously, I had only read it from the library in high school, so finally I own a copy, and this was a nice appetizer for the rest of the anthology things we got this year. Then another thing in October was the My Fab 4 segment that I recorded finally aired on the Beatles channel, and if you want to listen to that, you haven't heard it yet, that is in a video that I posted a couple months ago on my channel. I recorded the whole thing except for the songs, of course. So you could go ahead and listen to that. It was really cool to hear myself on the channel, and I really had fun recording that. And then in November, we had the release of Paul's book, Wings, The Story of a Band on the Run. As I said, it's in my office, so I don't have the copy here with me, but when I posted my video looking through the book on Instagram, the Paul McCartney Instagram account actually liked that post, which is the, I think, first ever interaction I've ever had, at least on Instagram, from the Paul account. So that was very, very cool that they acknowledged my video. And I really appreciate all the cool books that we've gotten from Paul in the recent years, like Eyes of the Storm and the Lyrics, and now this Wings book as well. It's really they're all tied to special memories, especially because this book preceded what is another huge highlight of this year for me, which was seeing Paul in concert in Buffalo, New York. That was the furthest that I've ever traveled for a concert. I went with my parents and the drive was about 5 hours, maybe even a little more. But it was definitely worth it for what was a very special show because it was my 10th time seeing Paul. And I have, just like with the Ringo concert, I do have a vlog on my channel showing a whole bunch of video clips. I think it's the longest video I've ever posted. It's about half an hour of all clips from that show if you want to go ahead and watch that. But I had the soundcheck package, and as I said, it was my 10th show, so it was a very special experience. I had some of the best seats that I could ask for. I was in the 3rd row, and Paul was about right here, so not quite dead center, but close. So a very, very fun night and a very special memory. So then November was also an exciting month for Beatles fans, of course, because it was anthology month. We had the music releases and the documentary both come out in November. I chose to get the CD box set here, and I was actually also very lucky to be one of the people who received a special promotional box from Disney Plus, and that contained the anthology book and the standalone Anthology 4 CD, which I actually gave to my mom because I have this box set already, and had some other anthology goodies in there too, and that was very exciting to receive that. I posted a little short video showing what was inside, and my mom gave me the idea to actually store my Beatles Christmas tree ornaments in this box, so that is what I'm going to do. Then in December we got this special John Lennon War Is Over Zoetrope vinyl, and I was very kindly sent this as well. And if you've never seen this kind of vinyl before, it has a special effect when it spins around. If you view it with a certain frame rate on your camera, it'll look like it's an animated picture that's moving. So you could take a closer look at that on the video that I posted to see what I mean. But there's some very beautiful and wintry music on here. And then also in December, as we were enjoying the holiday season, we got a video for George's song, Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. That is a claymation music video, and that is on his official YouTube channel. You could, of course, go and watch that if you haven't yet, and there's some behind the scenes information too. So then lastly, I'll just share a few things that we know are coming in 2026. So there is the Man on the Run Paul documentary that's coming in February, and that's on, as I said, Prime Video, but I think it's supposed to be in theaters too, select theaters anyway. And then we also know that we have a new album coming from Paul next year, because he had answered rather in a recent Q&A that what he's looking forward to is his new album in the new year. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I have no idea when that's being released, what month, but maybe it'll coincide with the documentary, I don't know. And we also, as I said, we know Ringo is coming out with a new album next year as well, kind of a follow-up to Look Up. So I'm very excited to hear that too. And then next year, as I said, I'll possibly be seeing Ringo in concert if he does his East Coast dates in the fall. Hopefully he will. If so, they'll probably be in September, which is my birthday month, and next year I actually turn 30 years old, so that will be very special if I'm able to see Ringo in my around my 30th birthday. That'd be very cool, so we'll see. And just one last thing I wanted to include in this video. I'm starting to lose my voice, I think, but I wanted to say thank you very much to whoever it was who sent me this Strawberry Fields Christmas card. I looked through my Instagram followers and my Facebook followers and did not see a person with this name, so I assume it's a YouTube subscriber. So if you're watching this video, I want to say thank you very much for this very nice card and the nice message inside as well. But yes, that is going to wrap up everything in today's video. So that is my look back at the Beatles moments of 2025. If you have any special Beatles memories of yours that you want to share, you can leave those in the comments. I'd be eager to read those. But yes, that is going to do it for today's video. So I want to say thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for all your support of my YouTube channel and my social media this year. And I'll see you for more in 2026. So thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day as always, and a Happy New Year. Bye-bye.